Sea of Thieves is going through some very real and very large issues right now, and I asked all of my viewers what they think should be done about it. Do you think the game can be saved? Is it time for Sea of Thieves 2? And what exactly is wrong right now? Stick around to find out. First off, I do want to thank you all for your support on the last video. It did surprisingly well, and when I asked you guys to comment your thoughts, you definitely did. I tried to respond to most of them and loved talking to each of you. So if you're seeing this video and you're interested in the topics, you should consider subscribing so you don't miss another video like this. But let's get started by ranking which issues were most important to the community. You guys brought up so many different problems you faced, many of which I've never even thought of, but I've taken all of your responses and calculated who is talking about what issues the most. And I think we should break down the top 4. The fourth largest issue on Sea of Thieves right now, talked about by around 30% of you, was the seasonal content. Based on your guys' thoughts, the time-limited content feels like a chore. And that word, chore, kept popping up over and over. A lot of you said it doesn't feel like you're logging in because you're excited. It feels like you're logging in because you're afraid to miss something. One of you called adventures FOMO content that did not respect players' time. And that sentiment was echoed constantly. Instead of building permanent, meaningful additions to the world, it feels like we're getting rotating checklists that disappear just as quickly as they arrive. Another comment put it perfectly. Everything is time limited. They just continuously try to pump out new content where the only way they make it interesting is by forcing the players to do them before it's gone. That's not engagement, that is pressure. And when the reward at the end of that pressure is usually another cosmetic in a game where cosmetics are already oversaturated, it just amplifies the feeling that you're grinding for something that won't even matter in a month. Seasonal updates should feel like the world is expanding. Instead, many of you feel like it's just temporary noise layered on top of a foundation that hasn't meaningfully evolved in years. The third largest issue, talked about by around 35% of you, is the diving mechanic and its effect on the sandbox. And this one sparked some of the most heated responses by far. For many of you, diving didn't just add convenience, it fundamentally changed the identity of the game. One comment summed up this frustration pretty bluntly. Let's make a sailing game and add diving so we don't have to sail. Totally insane. That exaggeration might sound dramatic, but the core concern is honestly real. Sea of Thieves is supposed to be about the sea and spotting sails on the horizon, making the decision to flee or give chase, and letting organic encounters unfold. When players can dive to voyages, dive to raids, or quickly just leave a server, it reduces those unscripted moments that gave the sandbox its life. Several of you said servers now feel emptier, not necessarily because fewer people are playing, but because fewer people are naturally crossing paths. At the same time though, not everyone hates diving. A few of you agreed that it's a useful tool, especially for newer players to get a session started or avoid completely dead servers, but among those who don't mind the mechanic, there was agreement that it probably needs some kind of restrictions. Suggestions range from limiting dives to tall tales and raid voyages, to adding cooldowns or fees, to removing diving from world events entirely. The bigger issue isn't just teleportation, it's what it does to risk. If loot can be farmed quickly and safely, the ships can disengage before encounters even happen. The tension that defines Sea of Thieves starts to fade, and when tension fades, so does the sandbox. The second largest issue being faced right now, talked about by 40% of you, are the issues with PvP structure. And this wasn't just PvP bad, it was frustration with how PvP is implemented right now. A huge number of you pointed directly at Hourglass. Some of you grinded both factions and said it flat out. I grinded both Hourglass factions, and yes, it did burn me out. Others were far harsher, calling it the most brain-dead, stupid solution to PvP they could have ever implemented. The core complaint isn't that on-demand PvP exists, it's that it feels disconnected from the sandbox, overly grindy and poorly rewarded. From level 1 to 100, the rewards feel sparse. From 100 to 1000, they almost feel non-existent. And on top of that, Hourglass takes up server slots, contributes to worlds feeling emptier, and often devolves into exploit-heavy, toxic encounters plagued by hit reg issues and cheaters. Then there's the arena-sized hole sitting in the community. I've made a video about this previously, so I don't need to talk about it too much, but multiple longtime players said that they quit the moment arena was removed. One of you, with 7,000 hours of playtime, said that decision alone forced you into adventure servers just to get fights. Fights that often ended up being against players who didn't want PvP in the first place. Others suggested separate Hourglass servers, free-for-all modes, a last ship standing format, or even a practice arena tavern space for TDM training. On the flip side, some players argued the real issue isn't PvP structure, it's that players expect easier fights. One commenter pushed back hard, saying people are mad that fights now take 40 minutes instead of 5. But regardless of where you land, the consensus is clear. PvP currently feels split between two extremes. Either forced grind-heavy duels in Hourglass or chaotic, often one-sided encounters in Adventure. And that middle ground, meaningful, organic, competitive player interaction, is what many of you feel has been lost. But the biggest issue of them all, that half of you talked about in your comments, is a lack of meaningful progression. And I think this just about sums up every issue with Sea of Thieves right now. Over and over again, you said the same thing in different ways. There's nothing left to work towards. One player who's been around since Alpha put it bluntly, there is nothing worth playing for. Another said, gold needs a purpose. A lot of people are sitting on tens of millions, if not hundreds. When the primary reward loop is gold to cosmetics, and you already own the cosmetics you like, the entire system collapses. Loot stops mattering, world events stop mattering, even rare items stop mattering. All loot has lost its value. Nothing is all that hard to come across anymore. This isn't about wanting overpowered weapons or stat upgrades. Most of you were clear about that. It's about wanting something that feels lasting, a gold sink. You know, something like player hideouts, more ship customization that actually evolves, ranked systems that continue beyond one cosmetic curse, distinction levels that do more than just add a number next to your name. Right now though, progression feels horizontal and bloated, rather than deep and meaningful. There are milestones, emissaries, guilds, seasons, passes, commendations, but very little of it changes how the game feels to play. And when a sandbox game loses the feeling of growth, the sandbox starts to feel like a treadmill. You're running and you're not going anywhere. After reading everything, the issue is not PvP. The issue is not PvE. The issue is not diving. The issue is not seasons alone. The core issue is that Sea of Thieves no longer provides a long-term purpose for experienced players. Everything spirals from that. Gold inflation leads to loot becoming meaningless. Loot becoming meaningless leads to stealing becoming meaningless. Stealing becoming meaningless leads to the sandbox becoming weaker. Sandbox becoming weaker makes diving feel worse. Diving feeling worse makes worlds feel empty. Worlds feeling empty makes veterans quit. It is a progression collapse. If Rare did 3 things to truly begin fixing Sea of Thieves based on everything you all said, it would start here. First, restore meaningful progression. Give gold a purpose again. Add real gold sinks, pirate hideouts, ship interiors that you can upgrade over time, long-term cosmetic mastery tracks, a ranked PvP system that doesn't end at one curse. Make progression feel like growth, not just a number ticking up in a menu. Second, rebuild the sandbox, restrict diving to specific content, separate Hourglass into its own servers, and design world events that naturally pull players together again. The sea needs friction, it needs risk. It needs moments where 2 ships see each other on the horizon and both have something to lose. And third, commit to permanent, high quality content instead of seasonal chum. fewer reskins, fewer time-limited checklists, more mysteries, more tall tale level experiences, more systems that expand what pirates can actually do, not just what they can grind. If Rare focused on progression depth, sandbox density, and permanent content quality, you wouldn't need marketing pushes to bring players back. The game would do it naturally. What will not save this game is more loot, more currencies, or more seasons. Inflation has already killed the meaning of treasure. Dropping 15 chests of legends in a fort doesn't make it exciting, it makes it common. Another plunder pass won't fix player retention. Another reskin fort won't suddenly inspire vets to return. And removing PvP entirely, or turning the game into a safe single-player experience won't work either. Because Sea of Thieves without tension isn't Sea of Thieves, at the same time doubling down on grind-heavy Hourglass, or catering only to the top 1% of PvPers won't save it. The answer isn't extreme in either direction. It's not more hand-holding, it's not more punishment. What won't save the game is pretending the core loop is fine and just layering more systems on top of it. The progression needs attention, because if the sea doesn't matter, if the loot doesn't matter, and if the progression doesn't matter, then nothing layered on top of that will matter either. When it comes down to what can be done for the game, the community really falls into 3 camps. Fix it, it's already dead, or let it die and make Sea of Thieves 2. The majority of you still want it fixed. Very few actually said a sequel is the only answer. But underneath that optimism, there's a growing concern about structural issues, server limits, years of layered systems, and a design philosophy built around seasons that may have baked in long-term problems. At some point, technical and design debt becomes heavy. So here's the honest take. If Rare is willing to pivot its core design philosophy and address those foundational issues, Sea of Thieves can absolutely recover. But if the focus stays on seasonal, surface-level additions without deeper restructuring, then a sequel might end up being the cleaner solution. Here's the thing though, players aren't asking for all new systems, all new world events, or anything that these servers can't handle. When it comes down to it, they're asking for purpose, and purpose is fixable. They're not engine miracles, they're design decisions. So if Rare wants to fix this game, to listen to what you guys have said, they absolutely can. And that is enough for me to be satisfied. If you guys stayed until the end of the video, thank you so much for your support again. It means the world. I hope you enjoyed this style of video. It's a little bit different, but I really wanted to engage with and hear from you guys to see what your experience with Sea of Thieves has been like. If you guys like this kind of content and want to be part of this awesome community, please consider subscribing, and please give the video a thumbs up. Hop down in the comments section too. Do you think the majority was right, or is there maybe a better solution? I hope you all enjoyed the video. Have a great rest of your days, and I look forward to seeing you all out on the seas.